Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sah virjam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്യായിनीം Ambatva Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramो Panishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidusura suraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. So happy Vijayadashami to all of you. So yesterday was Saraswati Puja, so hope all of you got a chance to celebrate that. And children definitely love Saraswati Puja. So yesterday I was talking, one boy was visiting us from Hyderabad, one family. And so I said, Bharat, great, I think you enjoy Saraswati Puja. I also like it very much because, I don't have to study, nothing. And no reading and all that. And he was saying, yes. And then his parents were saying, oh, for him, 365 days Saraswati Puja. So, parents make fun of children all the time. So parents are never satisfied. So that's what he said. So I don't think he liked that comment. So, and our Swami used to make fun of us. He used to say, oh, Saraswati Puja. Saraswati must be very happy. Why? Because he used to ask us questions periodically and we give some answers, wrong answers mostly. And so, so he used to say, today Saraswati doesn't have to worry about hearing all these wrong answers, chanting, improper chanting, swaras are wrong, everything. So she can relax. Today at least I can be with myself, like that. So now we pray to Saraswati and we tell her, despite all our things that we bother you with, I know you can handle all that and you will take us in the right direction. Okay, so let us okay, Santosh Gupta, go ahead and unmute yourself. See, I'm not keeping track of who is chanting and all that, so I'm just whatever comes to my mind I'm doing. So if anybody hasn't chanted in a while, I would like you to remind me. Okay, we're going to chant chapter 3 from the first shloka onwards. Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Jayasi Chet Karmanaste. Please,
can we wait? I was thinking we are chanting chapter 2.
Okay. That's okay.
I'm
not a problem.
Just taking it out.
Sure. But you are aware that we have moved to 3rd chapter, correct?
Yeah. No, that because we did not chant. We chant first chapter, then 2nd chapter. I didn't see. I missed that.
Oh,
chanting
I
the
see. I
second
see. Now we have not chanted second chapter, and we have not chanted Dhyana Shlokas also. So we have two things left. We have to chant Dhyana Shloka and second chapter.
Yeah, I am there now.
That we will do in the satsang period.
Okay.
Arjuna Uvacha
Arjuna Vacha
Jyayasi Chet Karmanasте
Jayasi Chet Karmanaste
Mata Buddhir Janardana
Mata Buddhir Janardana
Tat Kim Karmani Ghore Mam
Taktin Karmani Ghore Ma
Niyojayasi Keshava
Niyojyasi Keshava
Vyamishreneva Vakyena
Vyamisheneva Vakyan
Buddhim
Vak
Vakyena
Vakyana
Buddhim Mohayasiva Me
Buddhim Moya Siva Me
Tadekam Vada Nischitya
Tadekam Vat Nishchita
Yena Shreyohamapnuyam
Yena Shreyoham Apnuyam
Good. Sri Bhagavanuvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Lokesmin Dvividha Nishtha
Lokesmin Smin Dvidha Nishta
Pura Prokta Maya Nagha
Pura Prokta Maya Naga
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam
Gyan Yogin Sankhya Nam
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Yeah. So this chapter, chapter 3, starts with Arjuna's question. And about a doubt he has, which is, you have praised knowledge, but you're asking me to engage in a fearful action. Engaging in action itself I did not expect, but engaging in a very fearful action. Ghore karmani mam kimartham niyojayasi. Why are you doing that? So a very basic question was asked by, important question was asked by Arjuna. And to that, Krishna began explaining that lokesmin dvividha nishta. There are two committed lifestyles. Nishta, we saw that. So anybody who's committed to something, who wants to achieve something. So in our culture, this nishta is there. So japa nishta. So one who wants to do japa. So somebody from the class told me he wanted to chant Lalita Sahasranamam 11 times every day during Navaratri. So it's not easy. 11 times, one time chanting itself, we are finding it difficult. So where is the question of chanting 11 times? But he made so Nishta, it's called Nishta. He made a sankalpa that I'm going to do it. And making sure that the conditions are available to do it. You can't make a blind statement. You can't say, I'm going to climb the Mount Everest. Like that, you can't say. You must be capable of doing something. And then you make a sankalpa. So Nishta. So that is called a Nishta. So here, there is a twofold Nishta Krishna talks about. And so Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. So for sannyasis, this nishta called Jnana Yoga, and then Karma Yogena Yoginam. So for those who are karma yogis. It is karma yoga. People who have the attitude of karma yoga, people who have that same desire, both of them have the same desire of moksha eva, moksha prapti eva. But there are sannyasis, there are people who are not sannyasis. So that's the only two possibilities there. There is a third possibility, which is that a person does not know about moksha. Person is still not clear, and moksha is not there in their map. Then that person is just a karmi. We call it a karmi or a karmatha. So we are not talking about such a person, because pariksha lokan karmachitan we already saw. But person who has already analyzed one's life experiences and decided there's more, and so that person will be a karma yogi. Karma yogi, we saw the attitude of karma yoga, etc. And pura prokta, I told before that also we saw the example of Ishavasya Upanishad mantras 1 and 2. I told before means it can't be Mr. Krishna, it has to be Ishvara in the form of Krishna, Ishvara. As Ishvara, I have already mentioned in the Upanishads, that is the meaning. Okay. So having said that, sannyasa. So this idea of sannyasa, those days, of course, all Indians were familiar with sannyasa, and somebody or the other in the family takes to sannyasa. So sannyasa was part of their life. And so Arjuna thought, this is the time, my time has come. I want to take sannyasa. But Krishna, it looks like Krishna did not allow. So Arjuna's thinking is, yeah, Krishna started teaching me. I want to learn more. And so there, why put up with all this karma? That was his thinking. And he began thinking in that, along those lines. And for him, his thinking is like this. I want moksha. And for moksha, one has to gain knowledge. And for knowledge, committed lifestyle is needed. And so sannyasa is a lifestyle for that. That is where I can commit myself. Because otherwise, the family life means it's and life of a kshatriya, life of a king, and all that. There are a lot of duties, and I can't pursue moksha in that kind of a lifestyle. So why do that? You do pranayama means you do like this. You don't do like this. So try to. Why do that? We don't need that. Nobody teaches pranayama like this. Multitasking. You get some exercise in the hand and also you do pranayama. I don't know. Some people may try to do that also. So there's no need to do pranayama like that. And so this Arjuna is wondering, why would I engage in action like this? That was his question, his doubt. Not recognizing that karma yoga has an important role to play in the life of a human being. And Arjuna thought probably, I've lived in a forest for so many years, a dozen years I've lived, and I can live in the forest again. That's not a problem. Who said I need all this big palaces and all that? I don't need all that. And of course, Arjuna has been meditating also. But the problem is, he's been meditating on Duryodhana. And he's angry. He's an angry person inside. A lot of injustice done. And he was a flame of fury. And Bhima was another big flame of fury. And they were waiting for their time. And so just because you meditate on Duryodhana doesn't mean you can sit in meditation for half an hour. And we are talking about Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha. No, it won't work. And that kind of meditation does not make him a sannyasi who can live in a forest and all that. So maybe Arjuna thought he was already ready to become a sannyasi, and that won't work. And so we will go to the fourth verse, but before we do that, let's summarize this third one, translate the third one. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Sri Bhagavan said, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, Asmin loke dvivida nishta asti. Let's break it into small sentences. There are, in this world, okay, before that, I forgot to explain one word. And what is that word? I think some of you picked up. Any guesses? Anagha. Yeah, I could see Anil. Anagha. Correct. That word I did not explain. Anagha. Agha means sinless. It's an address to Arjuna. Hey Anagha. Hey Anagha. So what is this Anagha business? So far we've heard so many beautiful names, Kaunteya, Ityadi, Partha and all that. And here Anagha. Agha means papaha. Papam. Agha means papam. So Anagha means apapi. Hey apapi. Look at that. How different that is from if you lived in places like Tamil Nadu, you will have this experience. I've had this experience. They will stand in the corner of the street and say, Papi Gale. They'll be addressing with the Bible in the hand. Papi Gale means, hey, papis. So look at that. One says you are a papi, the other says you are an apapi. How can these two religions be same? I don't understand still how people say they are same. So it can't be the same. From A to Z, it's not the same. So here, Anagha, a person free from papa. Okay, because that is the nature. One is Atma is free from papa. So that's a beauty. Hey Anagha. Okay. We try not to translate it as sinless because the word sin means something else, very, very dramatic in English. And so one who is free from papa, there is a meaning there. Okay, now what? Asmin loke dvividha nishtha. In this world, this world means for the people of this world, a twofold committed lifestyle or lifestyles, twofold committed lifestyles. So Dvividha Nishtha was told by me. Pura Prokta. Prokta was told by me. Prokta. When was it told by me? In the beginning. In the beginning. In the beginning means within brackets you can say in the Vedas. Because the Bhagavad Gita comes after the Vedas, that's why. So in the beginning. So, hey Arjuna, oh one who is free from papa, the twofold committed lifestyles in this world was told by me in the beginning. What are those? Namely, the pursuit of knowledge for the sannyasis. Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Pursuit of knowledge for the renunciates or sannyasis. And the pursuit of karma yoga for those who engage in activity. The pursuit of karma yoga for those who engage in activity. Karma yogena yoginam. Yeah. So pura prokta maya. Maya means by me. So it'll be interesting to see how people interpret the word maya, by me. Me means what? Tell me what you mean. And so some, the Krishna consciousness people, you should open the book and see what they say. And Krishna said it. Nobody said it before Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the God. Anybody before Krishna is all so. Okay, they all came and Krishna decided these people are not teaching properly. I think it's time for me to come. Something they will say, So we don't know. So you all can do that kind of an experiment to see how others interpret all this. Okay. So that's that shloka. So now let's chant this fourth shloka. Vijay Sundaram ji. न कर्मणाम् अनारंभात् नैष्कर्म्यम् पुरुषोष्णुते न च संन्यसनादेव
न स संन्यसनादेव
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति न कर्मणामनारंभात्
न कर्मणामनारम्भात्
नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोष्णुते
नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते
न च संन्यसनादेव
न स संन्यसनादेव
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति.
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति.
Okay. So here Krishna is bringing out this idea of Naishkarmyam. Naishkarmyam. There is this idea of actionlessness. Actionlessness. A state of no action. Okay. That he is talking about. And so we need to carefully understand what that Naishkarmyam is. And the connection between Karma Yoga and Sannyasa also we know already. We know that Karma Yoga is meant for Chitta Shuddhi, and Chitta Shuddhi means a mind that is relatively calm, relatively unaffected by the so-called ups and downs, and relatively unaffected by the raga dveshas. We saw all these things before. And one cannot be carried away by anything attractive. And one should not be depressed by something that's happening. Death happens. How am I going to handle death? Death of somebody whom I don't know, I can handle very easily, That is not a problem. But what happens if something close, they say tragedy, traumatic happens? And can I handle it? Handle it, relatively peacefully. Can I handle it? Can I accept these kinds of situations? So that Chitta Shuddhi I can get by Karma Yoga. This we saw before. And so Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna that sannyasa ashrama is not for everybody. And sannyasi means one who is able to, who enjoys that disposition. That the person is not aching for anything out there, any new experience, and the person can therefore absorb himself or herself in the Shastra. That person who is capable of doing that is a sannyasi. That also we appreciate it. And so this word sannyasa, that word appears here in the fourth shloka. Sannyasana deva, sannyasateva. You can take it like that. So the word sannyasa appears there. Sannyasa, two meanings. we can give. One is a sannyasi taking to the sannyasa ashrama. Correct? We all know. We all recognize a sannyasi because that person has taken on this ochre robes and orange robes, and that person has moved on from the previous ashramas to sannyasa ashram. That person is clearly a sannyasi. And we also saw the reasons one can take to sannyasa. We saw it in the last class. I will not repeat that. That is one meaning of sannyasa. Second meaning of sannyasa is sarva karma sannyasa. I'm going to introduce few phrases if I have not already done so. Sarva karma sannyasa or karma sannyasa. Okay. These two words. Or naishkarmya sannyasa. Okay. These three phrases you can note. They all mean the same thing. And that is what? That is jnanena sannyasa. Sannyasa by knowledge. By knowledge. By knowing. Because we have studied so far that the fundamental problem is one of ignorance. Samsara, this life of ups and downs, the so-called ups and downs we talk about, and that is due to ignorance of a fact, ignorance of the reality of Atma. And though there is only one way to remove ignorance, and that is that which is opposite of ignorance. Okay. And what is opposite of ignorance is knowledge. And therefore, jnanena mokshaha. So we saw all that earlier. And so only just like only light can remove darkness, no amount of activity, no amount of dancing in a dark room will bring about light in the room. You've got to turn on the lights if you want brightness in the room. Same way, here also, jnanena moksha. We saw that. And so what is that knowledge? Here we are talking about that Atma is unborn, ajaha, nityaha. It is eternal. It is not born at any time. It always was, it always is, and it will always will be. That Atma we are talking about, which is not subject to action, which is not subject to destruction, that kind of Atma. So because Atma is not subject to any action, how come I am doing so much action when Atma cannot act? If we ask, that is the Shastram. That is what Krishna has to teach us. We will see more about that. That is this Karma Yoga, etc. We will understand more. But Atma is not an actor. This we have to understand. It is not subject to action. Therefore, the Sarva Karma Sannyasa can only mean that recognition of that Atma which is free from action. That is that Naishkarmyam. That is that Jnanena Karma Sannyasa. That is Karma Sannyasa. That is Moksha. Okay. So ashrama. No need for sannyasa ashrama. Anybody, knowledge, there can be nobody who will be exempt from this knowledge. Anybody who can think is qualified for this knowledge. Therefore, that is independent. This knowledge is independent of the ashrama. And so that person who has that knowledge is also a sannyasi. Why sannyasi? Not by wearing orange clothes, but by virtue of this knowledge the person has. Okay. So two kinds of sannyasis. One is a ashrama sannyasi. The other is a sarva karma sannyasi. Naishkarmya sannyasi. Okay. These two we can keep in mind. And then the role of karma yoga has to be brought in here. Because Arjuna's doubt, that is, we have to understand Arjuna's position here. And he is wondering why should I not take sannyasa now? That is, he's already come to that stage. And because he is very clear that this war is not for me. So therefore, for him, sannyasa is it. And so, but then he also needs to understand that without you can't be a fury of anger and then say, I want to take sannyasa. That is not possible. And one has to be relatively calm. And so Swamiji used to say, sannyasa has to be earned. He used to say that. I was there. I heard him say that once. And so it has to be earned. So one should first become a sannyasi here in the mind. Only then the ashrama will make sense. Very true, is it not? So that is why these parents who are already, in India, there used to be a concept called double promotion. And I don't know if it is there now or not. And because very intelligent students are there. And, for them, all this basics it's very boring. And the child gets bored in class. And so double promotion, from third class, you jump to fifth class. And fifth onwards, you jump. And they say, you be careful. Don't allow the child to jump too much, even though the child is intelligent. Let the child play around and let the child enjoy. You challenge him at home in your own way, but the child should move around with friends and engage. Otherwise, you can't put a child in college and everybody has a beard there and this fellow and still small and he gets emotionally disturbed. And we don't want that kind of a child. We should not subject a child to that. So same way here also, that karma yoga must be there. Karma yoga, a life of karma yoga must be there for the person. And otherwise that person cannot cannot handle sannyasa. Not possible. Like we said last time, the mind is wandering. Mind is wandering. I should have done this, I should have done that. And you've taken sannyasa. Now you're saying, I must have started a business. My friend came up with a great proposal and then I rejected that proposal. What a fool I am, Sannyasi, remember, sannyasi is saying, what a fool I am. What kind of a life that is, right? So we don't want that kind of a situation. And so simply, and so here, look at that. Look at what Krishna is saying here. Na karmanam anarambhat naishkarmyam purushaha ashnute. Okay. Purushaha ashnute. A person gains. Purushaha ashnute. And put the na that is there in the beginning. You put it in between purushaha and ashnute. Purushaha na ashnute. A person does not gain. Okay. Person does not gain. Person does not gain what? Naishkarmyam. Purushaha naishkarmyam na ashnute. Person does not gain this naishkarmyam, this sarva karma sannyasa, this knowledge based sannyasa. Person does not gain. By what? Karmanam anarambhat. By not doing actions. Anarambhat means by not starting any actions. Means by not doing any action. That is the meaning. So karmanam anarambhat. By not doing it. So that means what? I want to be a sannyasi. Then what I should do? I just have to, because there is this notion is there now, the romantic idea of meditation, and people have seen all these pictures with rishis growing a beard and then sitting like this and with this chinmudra in the hands and sitting in padmasana. So it can be attractive to people. It's possible. And so therefore I want to be a sannyasi. And so I want to be a sannyasi means what? You have to sit like that. Means what? You have to give up a lot of things. So I want to sit in meditation. So that's the idea. And so Krishna says, just by sitting like that and just by that romantic idea, you cannot get naishkarmya. You cannot be a jnana karma sannyasi, because this is something has to happen here in the head. And has that happened or not? That is the most important thing. And just by sitting, you can't become a sannyasi. Look at that. So interesting way of putting it. Because Atma is actionless, People know all these things. People who lived in this culture, they know all. They don't need to come to Bhagavad Gita to figure out Atma is Ajaha, etc. They don't have to figure that out. And so a person knows about actionlessness. Therefore, if action gives me samsara, what will give me freedom from samsara? Freedom from action. Therefore, I don't have to do anything. I should not do anything. This is the conclusion. Krishna is cautioning Arjuna. No. Just by walking away from your duties, you are not going to get moksha. This is the meaning here from this simple line, simple looking line. And so here Puja Swamiji quotes Mahabharata, shloka from Mahabharata. So tyaja dharmam adharmancha. You have to give up dharma, and that means what? And then adharmam cha. It's not like you give up dharma and then go after adharma. No, you give up both. And then tyaja krita, what is it called? Satyanrite ubhe tyaja. You have to give up the concepts of dharma, the adharma, concepts of right and wrong. And then finally, now what I'm going to say, I'm going to sit and then I'm going to say, I am somebody who has gone beyond all concepts. Therefore, nothing can affect me. Correct? And Mahabharata, Vyasa says, even that thought which says, I am the one who gave up, that thought also has to go. Like that he says, Yena tyajasi tatyaja. That by which you gave up all these things, that also you must give up. Like that he says. So there is so much to cover, my dear Arjuna. Not that easy. And this idea of punya papa, I want punya, I want papa, this idea also has to go away sometime. Why that idea should go away? Why should I not want punyam? Hey, Atma is free from punyam and papam. Punyam and papam is part of the karma chakra. So as long as I am an ajnani, action is there very much, and as long as action is there, punya papa is going to be there. And so if Atma itself is understood as free from doership, then where is the question of punya papa? Karta is gone means the entire punya papa account is vanished. We saw that in Tattva Bodha also towards the end. So therefore, that person is clear about it. Therefore, there is no search for punyam. I want to gain more punyam. I want to help other people so I can get some punyam. Not for a sannyasi. Sannyasi will help other people just because it has to be done. That's all. Not because the person wants punyam. Okay. So that is being also, that is to be noted here. And so that ahankara is going to be there. Because as long as the body is there, the sense of I will be there. Both for ajnani and of course for a jnani. And ahankara is there. And so only then, because only then transactions can happen. And so that ahankara is there. And so we should not assume that a jnani becomes like a stone. Actionlessness. No, we can't assume that. The person knows clearly that the self is free from action, but then there is a doer. The doer is the self, Atma. Atma is not the doer. Doer is the self. Doer is Atma. Atma is not the Karta, doer. The wave comes to understand that I am water. First and foremost, I am water. Wave is water. Water is not wave. Water cannot be wave. If water is wave, everywhere there is water, there will be waves. Therefore, water is free from being wave. Water can take on the form of wave, but it is free from waveness. Therefore, Atma is free from doership. But doer is Atma. Because without Atma, there is no doer. That knowledge is crystal clear for this person. And like Amitabh Bachchan playing the role of a barber, A is playing the role of a B, and A knows very well, I am not barber. Correct? I am not barber. I am Amitabh Bachchan. I am not barber. Never confused. Because we hear of this drama that happened during Ramanavami, and Ramayana was being played, a drama, and people are all playing the roles. And Dasharatha, one old man playing Dasharatha role, and that person, when Rama said, I am going to the forest, the person really fell dead. Because he confused himself to be Dasharatha. Look at that. We hear all these stories, it's so amazing. And so, no, that person need not have died because that person is not Dasharatha. Okay, so that jnanam is there for this person. And so, so we need to bring back the teachings of the previous chapter also. And na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So when the body goes off, the Atma cannot die. Na hanyate. So verse number 20 or something like that in the second chapter. And likewise, Veda Vinashinam Nityam Yayena Majam Avyayam Khatam Sapurusha Partha Kam Ghatayati Hantikam. So this Atma is Avinashi. And how can such a person be afraid of death? And because Atma cannot die, not possible. So we saw all that before. And so actionlessness does not mean giving up action. Very important. Because there is this idea that a sannyasi should always be quiet, should always be sitting, and should not be active, should not talk much. All these ideas people have. And so therefore, a sannyasi who is often a Mauni Baba. That's how Mauni Babas, we all respect Mauni Babas, Mauni Babas we respect because to be quiet is not easy. To be quiet is not easy. That's why you have to make an effort to be quiet, right? I want to be quiet. It's an action. To be quiet is an action for us because a lot of will is involved to be quiet. I have to be quiet. No, I won't pick up the phone. No, the WhatsApp is reminding me that I should pick up the phone. And no, I'm not going to pick up the phone. Means to be quiet, I have to put a lot of effort. A lot of effort is involved. And so this so this being inactive is we need to give up that idea that this naishkarmyam does not mean being inactive. And even though in the future chapter, in chapter 13, amanitvam, values, when he talks about one of the values is vivikta desha sevitvam. Some of you will recall. And there he talks about values, and one of the values is love for a place where you can isolate yourself. Love for a place where you are by yourself. It's a value. Very important. Vivikta desha sevitvam. So constantly trying to engage with people, parties all the time, and extroverted person they say. And we all appreciate such a person. Never, on the other hand, person always with oneself. They don't go out at all, and the boy doesn't talk to anybody, always studying, and he doesn't even play any games. So we worry about that child also, right? We say, what is this? Come on, you go out, go play with your friends, and then there is a time for study, you can come back, not a problem. So we look at all these extroverted people, and but then this extroverted person, the person becomes 60, 70, and then the body doesn't allow this to happen. And that person struggles because he wants to go to parties all the time. And now you got diabetes and this arthritis and all the TISs are all there. Big list of TIS is there. And diabetes, arthritis onwards. And so this person can't. Mind is there. And friends and engaging and parties and this and that. So we have to slow down all that. Only then senior life will be a joy to live. We need to understand this basics. Only then we can live a happy life also. So therefore, that Vivikta Desha Sevitvam, Krishna mentions, I love it very much. And and there's a time one says, no, it's not for me. That's not for me. That's not for me. I'm done. I've done whatever needs to be done. I'm done with it. So this, therefore, actionlessness, thinking of actionlessness as giving up activity arises many questions, causes many questions. So one question is, how long one should be actionless? If actionlessness means giving up activity, then how long should I give up activity? Because Krishna is going to say shortly, na kaschit, I think next shloka is coming, na kaschit kshanamapi tishtatu jatu tishtatya karma krit. One cannot even be, cannot even remain being without action. He's going to say next shloka. So how long, if your idea is actionlessness means doing nothing, it won't work. It won't work, because breathing is an action. Even if I say I'm keeping quiet, that also is an action, because it's willful. Keeping quiet is a will effort based result. So I have to keep quiet. And standing is an action, sitting is an action. And some people, they do that. And our Baba doesn't talk. And so how do you communicate with him? We write it and then he reads it. We write it in a piece of paper and then he reads it. And then he will shake his head. Like, would you like some food? So then what? Look at that. That means that person has mistaken not physical movement to be actionlessness. Mind is very active. Hey, yes, this is why knowledge becomes so important. If the knowledge part is missed out, then we get into all these funny situations. He won't talk, therefore, but he can read and speak out. And he can even write also. Sometimes you can't say, just shaking the head is not enough to reply. You have to write it out. And so he will write it out. So our Baba writes, only reads and writes. He won't talk. So, okay. So we need to be clear about all these things. And so this physical actionlessness is not possible. This we must be clear, so that we understand the word naishkarmyam properly. And so na karmanam anarambhat, and by not engaging in action, one cannot gain this naishkarmyam, this state of actionless, which is the nature of Atma. And therefore it is not a state, because a state means something that can come and go. That is what a state is. And so now the second line, what is the second line? Nacha sanyasanad eva siddhim samadhigacchati. Samadhigacchati. Also same thing as ashnute, gains, attains, accomplishes. Samadhigacchati. Okay, who gains? That same Purusha, the word Purusha in the first line, you bring it here. Purushaha samadhigacchati. Purusha gains. Okay. And the na that is there in the beginning of the second line, you bring it in between Purusha and samadhigacchati. And Purushaha na samadhigacchati. Purusha does not gain. Does not gain what? Siddhi. Siddhim. Purushaha siddhim na samadhigacchati. Purusha does not gain moksha. Siddhi, moksha. And by what? By what? Sanyasanad eva. By taking to sannyasa alone, Purusha cannot get moksha. Correct? Can there be a more categorical and blunt statement when it comes to sannyasa? So if at all Arjuna had any notions, I want to wear this orange robe and I want to be by myself. No, nacha sannyasana deva siddhim samadhi gacchati. Neither by taking to sannyasa you can get moksha. Over. With one stroke, Krishna disallowed that possibility. You cannot say, I will stop doing things and then I will get moksha. Na karmanam anarambhat purushaha naishkarnyam na ashnute. So just by not doing anything, you can't get moksha. And okay, I'll take sannyasa. No, just by taking to sannyasa also, you are not going to get moksha. Correct? So there's any funny ideas that are there? Krishna negates, neutralizes those notions. And in fact, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, it's dereliction of duty. It is not moksha. It's called dereliction of duty. You got children at home. They all depend on you. You can't simply say, I'm going to take sannyasa and all that. It won't work. And at least our tradition doesn't allow all that. Our Swamijis and all, we've watched so much about how our tradition works. And Swamiji is careful. They need to be careful who gets sannyasa. And the person, are you mature or not? First, that maturity is there. And then what about your family? Do you have a family that depends on you? Children are there. Are they growing up? Are they grown up? What about parents? No, children have grown up. What about parents? Are there people depending on you? Do you have brothers and sisters? Where are they? And things like that. Are your brothers and sisters? You have brothers, older brother, but is he capable of taking care of your parents? That also we need to look at. And that fellow has gone off somewhere and he has not called parents in 20 years, And so where is the question of that person taking care of parents? It won't work. So much is there that goes into all this. And we also hear stories. Some people, see, either sannyasa is given to the person. Swamiji will call somebody and say, tomorrow during Shivaratri, I want to give you sannyasa. That's typically that's how it works. And we also hear some stories that some people ask for sannyasa. Swamiji, I want sannyasa. And that's not traditional. Traditionally, it doesn't happen like that. Because then Swamiji will ask, why do you want sannyasa? Why, what happened? What's wrong with you now? You have a problem or what? If you have a problem, then you can't take sannyasa. So, everything has to, the fruit cannot come a day earlier. A fruit cannot ripen a day earlier, right? So, with that said, let us translate this shloka. A person does not gain actionlessness. Purushaha naishkarmyam na ashnute. Purushaha naishkarmyam na ashnute. A person does not gain actionlessness by non-performance of actions. Karmanam anarambhat. A person does not gain actionlessness or even a state of actionlessness by non-performance of actions. Full stop. Nor does the person attain moksha. Nacha purushaha siddhim samadhigacchati. Okay, nor does the person attain moksha out of mere renunciation, sannyasa, sannyasanad eva, out of mere renunciation, sannyasa, nor does the person attain moksha out of mere renunciation, sannyasa. A person does not gain actionlessness by non-performance of actions, full stop. Nor does the person attain moksha out of mere renunciation, comma, sannyasa. Good. So we are making some progress there, and consistent with what Krishna said in the second chapter. And so we better now understand. We are now beginning to understand what this sannyasa means. And so we will continue this discussion with the fifth shloka, where Krishna is going to say actionlessness should not be taken literally. He's going to explain that in the next shloka. Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasyashalini deshoyam kshobharahitah ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ